Welcome to the East African Perspective. I am Sanju Benjamin Kavugu. Today we are going to talk about something special, metal. Metal has defined human history for a long time. Each piece of metal, from gold, iron, bronze, silver, each civilization that used any of those defined where they went in agriculture, when it came to armor, when it came to weapons, when it came to plates, cups, all these things defined civilizations. And today our guest works with metal. He's an artist and he works with a specific piece of metal. He's going to tell us about it. I am Benjamin, as I've said. Thomas is not with us today. We are continuing without him. I will ask our guest, Ronald Odur, or Odur Ronald.
Actually, I prefer to be called Odur Ronald.
Odur, okay. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience, those listening and those watching?
Yeah, so Odur Ronald. I like to be called Odur because that identifies me deeply from my cultural lineage. I'm a multidisciplinary visual artist, but I call myself an artist now because I do I do a lot of things concerning art. So I do installation art, sculptures, I do music, I do performances. Yes, no, I do everything concerning art. I even act. Yeah, but I have, in my work, I basically use aluminum printing plates and copper wires, which is like the bedrock of my work. But I also collaborate with other materials and different art mediums.
Okay, so mainly it's aluminum and copper wires. Those are your methods.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was about to ask about the word multi, but you have elaborated why. Because when I was looking you up and doing my research, it came up in the articles, in multi, and I'm like, I want to ask you why multi, an artist is an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have talked about your art. What are these installations? Give us a picture. How is an art installation? How would it feel if somebody visited an art installation?
So an art installation has different explanations to it, but from my understanding, an art installation is really conceptual because you just like conceptualize something and then you put it to make meaning out of it, and it's more like something that is put there.
In Kampala, which example would you use for an art installation? Like one people would relate to very fast. Sculptures are everywhere.
I don't know, but my work. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you have done various pieces. I have seen a piece that has very many chairs in it.
Yeah.
Chairs can mean anything. I don't know. I want to ask you what inspired you. You know, where did this whole thing start from? Was it school? Was it at home? Was it something you consumed when you were young? How did you start? How did you go into that direction?
Actually, for me, I was an artist even when I was younger because I used to create my own toys. I used to play with a lot of clay and all these things. So for me, when I grew up, I went to school and but I used to do art. That is the only thing I used to do like very well and what. And for me, I was like, this is the only thing that can give me peace. So becoming an artist and using the materials so I use, which is aluminum printing plates and copper wires, was influenced majorly by my childhood experiences where I grew up in the suburbs of Zambia, Katwe, Kisenyi, and it is well known for scrap collecting and dealings. Yeah, so from that background, I started painting. There's a friend of mine called Simon in Zambia at Craft Village. He's the one who introduced me to painting on canvas and all these things, but I couldn't afford that. I used to use my mom's
back
bedsheets.
then.
Yeah. So it became quite difficult for me to sustain, and this led me to using aluminum printing plates. And this is how it comes about. I was on my mom's phone and I saw this guy embossing a Coca-Cola can, and I'm like, oh, this thing looks like something I used to collect as scrap metal to buy myself toys. You know, those Busajas and what.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, let me go and revisit this thing. And by that time, I bought that printing plate at 1,000, and it's my mom who gave me the 1,000. And I started experimenting with it, embossing it, like 2D object, like 2D kind of situation on it, and what. And there's one time I was working on a piece during the time when the social media was levied, like they levied the tax on it.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's this coin, 200 coin I was embossing on metal, and the plate I was using had a lot of like wrinkles and what and cuts, and so I tried to put it together, and that's how I started stitching it with aluminium print, like with copper wires, and that has really been evident in my work up to now.
Okay, so in all your journey as you're doing that work, what does the community think about you? What do your teachers think? What do your parents think? Like, do they say, or do they pay attention?
Yeah, they from childhood they used to pay attention because everything I used to do. Yeah, they used to pay attention. Like, oh, this young man is doing this, playing with this. But then when I started becoming an artist, they used to ask me to get a job. Actually, yeah.
Yes.
But for me, I went to university. I pursued interior designing, which I've never practiced and I never liked it. For me, I just wanted to do art.
It's closer to what you're doing.
Yeah, it's close. Actually, I also embed it in my work.
Yes.
Right now. Yeah, like a piece called Moa, where I also embed it. But yeah, like they were really not supportive at one point, but they were like, okay, they just let me do what I was doing.
Like for every artist in this country or in this region, parents will never understand. The community
actually
will never understand.
Internationally.
Really?
Yeah. I meet people from France, Germany, and they're like, my dad wants me to be a lawyer.
Okay. My thinking was those people appreciate art, and which brings me to my next question. Very few of us in Kampala or in Uganda know about your work. Your work has been to more European cities than around.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you get there? How can an artist get there? Did it just happen? Did the opportunities find you here? Did you go looking for them?
For me, I say you don't wait for things to happen to you, go and happen to things. But also for me, I saw it like the stories I'm trying to tell, majority of them are not for Ugandans. And also some of them were for Ugandans, though they never understood art, they never appreciated art. They just know this kind of art at Uganda Road. And that's what people think that is art. They're like, hey, you've not seen. And then they check me and I'm like, guys. Because for me, it's been a while since I last painted or I held a brush. It's not that I can't paint. I paint, I sketch, everything. I'm good painting. But that is not like, it doesn't give that depth of art, like depth of conceptualism. Like, so for me, I create art that evokes memories, evokes emotions, makes you to think. It creates a platform for you to like have a conversation.
Now that brings me to another question. What we do at the East African Perspective is to try to look at things happening in the world from our lens, regional lens. What is in your art is something we can relate to. The emotions. We do have emotions. Your work touches immigration, refugees. It's kind of political. These are things happening here. The only thing maybe, and what we want to do here is to try and make people look and say, oh, this is around us. And I want to go to that now depth of your art. Especially that piece, those pieces of the metallic passports I've seen hanging, those pieces. The question of passports is wide. It's nationality, which is belonging. It is it is immigration. It is you can't travel without a passport. You can't borrow. You can't lend. A passport is huge. It is a huge thing. There are societies that have been part of Uganda that have been denied passports. If you go to Myanmar, same thing. There is a society there that has been denied passports. Yeah, we are seeing it happen in Israel right now. We saw it in apartheid South Africa. That is a strong piece of art.
Even in Kenya, like the Chipande system.
Yes, yeah. Basically, passport is a document that passport. It's a pass.
Yeah.
Anyway, we shall get to it. What inspired you to do that? Why a passport? I, who consumes that, perceives it differently. You, who did it, had something else in mind.
Yeah. And I love that perspective anyway, because everyone has their own how they perceive the work.
Yeah.
But for me, before even answering what you asked, I have different bodies of work.
Yes.
I have the body of work called Women Resting, whereby I document my sisters at rest, the way we grew up with them, and it's majorly like paintings and a little bit of sculptures and installations. So I also have the Art of Offense, that is another body of work, which is really quite political, like I mean state political, what political, it's quite deep. And then I have the one, the Republic of this and that, with the passports. It is about movement, access, and belonging.
Okay.
Yeah, so it depends on like what I want to talk about, and in the realm I want to talk about it in. So I revisit all these bodies of work, but the majority, the one that has really picked up internationally is the Republic of this and that, whereby I explore the passports. And it's
because passports are everything.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So my recent work you're talking about with the chairs and what, I'm exhibiting it at the Liverpool Biennale this year. It is still up till September, I believe. If anyone is in the UK, you go to Liverpool, you
look
see
at it
at the Blue Court. Yeah, so for me, what inspired me, actually for me, I call that body of work a rejection, because it's funny that it's not even inspired by the passport. It's inspired by the constant rejections I got accessing opportunities, just like grants.
Yes, now I understand.
Residencies, and then also like other arts, like whatever's. So there's this work I was exhibiting in Senegal. I first exhibited it with the African Union in Senegal. Then it was also chosen to be exhibited in Senegal at the Dakar Biennale last year. And it was really talking about how African artists have difficulties like showing their works outside like their usual spaces, like Africa. Exactly.
Of course, something we have looked at, intra-African travel is almost impossible.
Exactly. Yeah, so for me, I was like, okay, if I get this residency, so let me say Gasworks residency in London.
Yes.
So I have to apply for a visa. So I'm like, okay, what if I'm also denied the visa? So that's where we enter into the idea of like the passports and all these things. So I started also like, actually for me with that body of work, I first of all, like I started talking about Ugandan situation, like nepotism, opportunities, because some people see opportunities in an opportunity. Just like the policeman will see an opportunity in an opportunity. It's like, you're drunk driving. You give me a soda or something like that. There is sexual harassment like at work and all these things. You understand? So for me, in my passport, my earlier passports, that's what I was talking about in them. And then I broadened it up to different ideas and also talking about different things. But my work is majorly inspired by me, my experiences, because I believe it took me time though to understand that there's no artist who inspires me, and they'll never inspire me, but they'll just influence me and the way I think. There's this artist called Ibrahim Mahama in Ghana who really influences my way of thinking and creating. So something like that.
Now, still on the passport, we do have the East African passport. Something like that they call the East African passport. There is one they have launched for the African Union, then the European Union, they have their own. I think even ECOWAS people have their own passport. And these passports can go to some places and they can't go to some places. So passports are also about access.
Exactly.
What do you think, how do you feel after doing your work? How do you feel when you hear those stories of people being denied access to a certain country because of the passport they hold, or a certain community being denied to have an access to a passport? And by the way, keeping in mind, passports are a human creation.
Exactly.
The Greek scholars that came to Egypt to study, or those people that left West Africa to go to Egypt to study back then in the days, would travel without passports.
Yeah.
Basically, not even supposed to have passports.
Yeah.
What do you think when you hear scandals around a passport?
Also passports are a colonial kind of idea,
Yeah. Yeah.
too. Like, it's either you're kept out or you're kept in, and it is really going even much more deeper. You look at like the US right now, it's quite crazy. For me, the idea of about passport, which I really think about in depth, is there is no reciprocation within these two things. A British citizen will want to apply for a visa in Uganda, but they'll ask them 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
Me, if I'm applying for a visa to go to the UK, they'll ask even
You-
what
you-
my mom's name is.
You will do an interview in Uganda, then do another one in Nairobi.
You don't do an interview, but like they ask, like
Yeah, those questions.
they ask,
And
really
that brings us to the passport
questions.
weight.
Yeah. You first leave alone the passport weights, because this is something really important. I'm trying to talk about, like, the idea of the visa, applying for the visa, they ask for really delicate information that you're not even safe to give it out.
give out
like your
privacy.
mom's name, like when was she born, what, and those are things like I'm like, oh my God, your land title, what, all these things, your bank account, like all these things, and it's really crazy.
It's not just a passport.
It's not only a passport. Yeah. So it's quite, and for us, if you date back, like the Baganda, like I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and it's like, I think even the passport is not a means of documentation. It does, identification. It's just there's a way he called it, which I don't remember well, but it was like it's like aligning something like that, because identity is like, let me say, the Baganda used to identify by reciting their ancestral names, like Tambula Muganda.
Yes.
Even as we have Dogola. Dogola is like Oluji, something like that, or Edo. Yeah, so we also use that kind of situation, like we go back to our ancestors, like this, and that's how you identify.
Something you can't forge, but a passport you can forge.
Yeah, you can't forge it, because way back people knew themselves, like,
Yes.
oh, you're son of this person, you understand. But a passport, you can't forge it.
I remember when you talked about that, I remembered something that happened at the height of a Syrian civil war.
Yeah.
The people that came to negotiate with the Syrian government at the UN, the negotiator from Syria told them to name their ancestors from Syria.
Exactly. And that is identity.
Yeah, not a passport, not some document.
You see?
So it is that serious. Okay. That is a very, passports, that piece of work is controversial.
Exactly.
It can take you places, or it can lock you off.
Yeah, but it also has its irregularities. Like, if you, let me say, British, I'm using British because I'm just from there, like a couple of.
Hope they allow you back.
I don't care about that. Uganda is amazing, but the thing is, like, a British person will come and they are black, and they show up at the airport. Yeah. You won't know, like, they are British, they are Africans.
Yes.
Until they show you their passport, right?
And then everything changes.
Yeah. So for me, I'm like, I am a human being before even becoming a Ugandan. I'm a human being before even what? I'm also an African before even becoming anything else. So I'm like, so does the passport really identify you? Or
it doesn't. It's more.
Yeah, because they'll try to manipulate you and do what, and mistreat you because of just you, like your outlook, until you put out your passport.
The whole idea of a passport could be a mind enslaver, something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you'll forgive me. These
No,
things
it's fine.
You might not ask them, but they are really important. But for me also, I dive deep into the idea of, like, our resources and the idea of movement, because it's okay. Let me even use an example of my work. My work traveled to Liverpool before me getting to Liverpool.
To Liverpool, yes.
And never asked for a passport. They never asked for a visa for it. Nothing. Just shipping it, and it is in Liverpool. me who created the artwork, I'm still here begging for a visa
To Uganda.
to go to Liverpool. You understand? So it is quite difficult because it's
Basically how they have taken all African resources.
exactly like there's this work I created in London at Gasworks last year, and it's about like resources and movement. So I posed this question, like, why is it easier for Ugandan cotton to go to Europe than a Ugandan human being to go to Europe?
Maybe a Ugandan human being doesn't need to be in Europe.
But then they're the ones who also, whatever the cotton.
Yeah, the cotton.
But then when they want to go there,
They can't.
they have a reason as why maybe they're going there. It's quite difficult for them. I'm not saying that you make you grow your cotton, you whatever it, and you have to follow it. No.
No.
Okay, let me
Sometimes
say-
it even makes sense to follow it, to sell it better.
Maybe
you could
also-
get another buyer.
Yeah, maybe also you're talking about it like,
Yeah.
oh, the soil we did this on this and
And
this.
somebody else representing you.
Yeah, maybe. Just like my work, I have to go and talk about it
Yeah.
and talk about the stories you're trying to tell. Like, hey, you guys, this is how we find it difficult to travel and come to show you just this. You're enjoying it, but like there's a lot of hurdles I passed through to reach here. Yeah.
Your work is that powerful. It has moved around the world.
Yeah.
How is your work perceived here? You said you have some political work. Artists, writers, we shy away from certain topics. We deliberately say, no, I will not write about that. I will not do anything about that.
Yeah.
How have you dealt with that? And what challenges have you faced?
So it's quite also depressing, like going through that path of creation. Like, but for me, I start from my experience. When I'm creating such works, I also go and read a little bit about like a little bit of books. I do a little bit of research, like our constitution. What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to be careful? And I create work, and I reach out to lawyers, people who understand all
Your
this.
self-sense.
Not self-censoring, but I'm just self-aware of the outcomes. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to just go like a mad person because I'm using emotions and what. Yeah, I have to also be intellectually like serious about myself and my practice. Yeah. So I also be I create work when I'm careful. Yeah. But also I conceptualize it a lot whereby it is not direct. I'll talk about something like Muwawa. I created Muwawa. I just made a chandelier, a nice chandelier, and made a dining area. And it's just nice, but I made just chaos to look nice.
However abstract it is, somebody will still perceive it in a certain way, and you may end up somewhere.
Yeah. But you can go to court and figure it out, at least maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't faced any challenges? No arrests? No.
My work was confiscated. That was to represent Uganda at the Venice. Yeah.
And it disappeared just like that?
It disappeared, but I don't want to talk more about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that is quite... I hope one day you maybe put it in your memoirs or something.
No, I actually recreated another work called Waga Holiday, like trying to talk about how the media that didn't capture like this important event, because the Venice Biennale is it's a prestigious international event for art internationally.
Yes.
It's like the World Cup of Art, Olympics of Art, and we are representing the country and all these things
I'm
happen.
going to force you to talk about this. How did you feel? Did you have anything that made it there, or?
Yeah, I had to recreate another work in like 5 hours and then shipped it to Venice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope it was just a simple case of jealousy.
No. I think we both had a point. Yeah, we both had a point. The people who confiscated it and me, the artist. I think there was just a misunderstanding somewhere. Or maybe security reasons or what, I don't know. Yeah, but and that shows you how this country is unserious about artists, but then they want a lot from artists. They want to milk a cow they don't feed.
Artists have a special place in human history.
Yeah.
If you look at the rock paintings, they tell us how life was back then, and they're all over the world. There are very many other pieces of art. Basically, artists are guardians of information,
Exactly.
which you are doing.
Actually,
It has to be credited.
we document the times. Yeah, if you get that work that was confiscated, people will ask a lot of questions about it, and then they'll realize what was happening that time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and art is not only
Capture time.
yeah, art is not only about visual art or art. Art cuts across like a lot of kind of mediums and what, whereby there's an artist in like when I was in the UK, he was showing at the Tate Modern, and he was narrating how they passed through COVID, whereby he put up an exhibition and was supporting doctors who were quite depressed and with the overwhelming patients that were coming.
That is how strong art is.
Yeah, and he put up an exhibition near, I don't know if it was near or in the hospital, whereby it's one doctor at a time to go and see the exhibition, and it was mentally like trying to align them well, like because everyone was depressed and what, and that shows the power of art, not even only like consumption, like my wall and what I'm putting a giraffe forward, but it's quite deep. Me, when my work was confiscated, I had a lot of rage and I was angry and what. But when I created Waga Holiday and I had a performance, if you go back and listen to that performance, when I shouted and screamed out all the anger, after that work, I'm going to tell you I've never spoken about that work in the kind of way I'm speaking, like I spoke about it before that, because I was really angry.
You let it go and
I let it
got over it.
Exactly. Just because of art. Just look at what art does. You watch a movie, even during COVID, it's art that
pushed humanity throughout.
Exactly. Yeah. People are depressed.
People wrote more, people like art was everywhere, and artists were
movies, what? Yeah. It is art. Yeah. And for you, if you tell me art, like even art is a science. I know artists who create science. Even me, I go back to the periodic table. I do what? I use chemicals. Like I still go back to chemistry. You can't tell me art is a science.
The president doesn't see it that way.
He knows what he's saying. Like he also knows it, but you know, yeah, so, he knows what he's saying.
You see, now I want us to move to the economical bit. You do art. Somebody may want to do what you're doing, but then they're like, I have to feed. Your art has moved around, and you know, in Uganda, the moment you are doing things and they move around, especially out of the country, and people see you fly out, they look at you differently. They're like, Odur will sort this. How is the economic landscape for artists? From your experience and also other artists now, general. I think let's first put music aside. I feel like music is somewhere.
Yeah.
Poetry, the kind of art you're doing, and other forms of art, writing. How is the economic landscape? Can you go back and tell a student, if you got an opportunity to talk to students, career guiding session, that you can pursue this and you will pay bills and you will pay fees, and how is the economic landscape of art in Uganda?
Before even talking about the economic landscape,
yes.
If you really want to be an artist, go and do art. But if you're like, I just want to go and look for money, you leave art alone because you're going to be disappointed.
Okay, that is very honest, candid.
Because I remember, for me, I started doing art without nothing, like nothing. I still even use scrap, although right now there's a scrap boom whereby everyone wants to collect scrap and earn some living. But way back, it was quite subtle, like it wasn't that much more. So like you earn, like in art you earn, but it takes time to start doing that. Yeah,
that's what the young person needs to know, that it takes time. It's not an overnight thing.
Exactly, and you don't have to chase money, because if you start chasing money, the money will run away from you.
And you'll get frustrated.
Exactly. For me, this is what I tell people, like regardless, you'll get the money. Just create something amazing. Stay to your values, do what you have to do, and just do. Like, because you give it your whole, and it will really be amazing. It will touch people's hearts if it has to. It will serve your purpose. Also, there are certain things I learned along the way, like being really selfish about my practice. Because if I start thinking about the audience and the people who are going to see the work, I'm just going to be creating for those people.
Yeah, yeah.
But
When you
if I create basing on like what I want to say, I'll really be honest with myself and create what I want to say.
the economics can easily gag
Yeah, it will
the
figure
work.
itself out. Yeah, but anyways, we have to like different kinds of artists. We have like commercial artists and what. I'm not saying I'm not a commercial artist at some extent because I also work with the commercial gallery at some point. There are certain works that I put out and they have to sell, like paintings, sometimes small works, and then they also fund my installations. But majority of it, I'm more of an institutional artist whereby I make installations. I can't wait for anyone to come and fund me to create an installation because it's something huge. You have to have storage. But a painter will just paint every day because they have storage. They just go and buy stuff and what. But for me, I'm an installation
They
artist.
can also run out of storage.
No, you just roll things. Did you see the chairs I made on 1,000 passports?
Yeah.
Where are we going to keep that? Yeah, so for me, that is the risk I took. And yeah, it is risky.
So there is risk. You have to take a risk.
A riskable risk at some point. Yeah.
Okay. Still on the economics, is art elitist? Is in Uganda, you will find art where diplomats are, where certain guys that have been to certain schools are, certain bars, certain restaurants. How are we perceiving art? And I'm asking this because, as we have said, art is very important to human history.
Yeah.
How does the rest of the community perceive art? And why should they take it seriously?
In the perspective of a Ugandan, people will think art is for rich people. But also, like the person who is going to do the art, they think art is for failures. In the perspective of education.
At school art was maybe add art.
Yeah, but also art is a luxury at some point.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, it is an investment at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have seen art pieces go for millions of dollars.
Exactly. Yeah. So it depends on the lens you're looking at it. Like the position, like a 6 and 9, you might see it as a 6 or you might see it as a 9. So everyone has their own
perspective matters.
Exactly. Yeah. But majority of the time in Uganda, people don't perceive art well. Like art is something, most especially visual art in Uganda. People think art is painting a monkey, painting a giraffe, a njovu.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So that is how people in Uganda perceive art, majority of them. But the people who really understand
maybe
art,
because we have a lot of wildlife and it influences that, I don't know, but most of the art pieces are around the wild.
I think we don't also have like an ecosystem for people to understand art. Like you look at our National Museum. We are not sure. For me, I'm not sure if it is a museum really.
I don't think it
is. So, but we can even have something much more than that. But there's a lot within our country that
even art galleries. If somebody asked you, I would want to visit an art gallery in Kampala, if you're not an artist, you'll be like,
which gallery?
Yeah,
but we have different galleries around. Yeah, and there are strong galleries, by the way, that have really crossed even through internationally. If you talk about some galleries, like a gallery in Uganda, and you just mentioned the name, like, I know that gallery.
I've been to that gallery, or I would want to visit that gallery.
Yeah, because they have made a name for themselves.
So, as we go away from the economics, are there opportunities in art?
Which,
like if I'm an opportunist, I don't care about art, but I want to make money.
Yeah.
Are there opportunities? Somebody can't jump out and they're like, I'm going to Uganda.
You first have to understand the art industry internationally, like, because those opportunities are there also. People are art agents, art dealers, they buy art from.
Yeah, so there are all those jobs, art agents, art dealers.
Yeah, exactly. But also art is like wine. It gains value with time also. And also where it has been. Just like, let me say you show at the Venice Biennale, the Dakar Biennale, and then the Liverpool Biennale. If you just have that on your CV at some point, they'll be like, oh, this is an artist, this guy's work is valuable.
You know,
like having a PhD.
They always say something about writing that whatever you write will never be of value until you die. That means it will get better with time, maybe
At some
when
point,
you're
even
alive.
art, because of the scarcity of it,
Yeah.
it is not going to be produced again.
Yes.
The person producing it is not there anymore. So that is how the value acquires. But in art, it is also all different ways. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, at some point, I don't want even to understand those things. I just want to do what I'm doing.
Then the other people can come in. Of course,
Yeah.
it becomes now a whole sector. The other people can
Exactly.
come and do the dealing, the
Exactly.
agents, and which is employment, and which
Yeah.
can be good, because I know the government will be looking at taxes.
But I also, anyways, taxes.
Yeah, of course, where there is money, there are taxes. Yeah. So as we go from the economics, we have looked at how you are inspired, where your art has been. We have looked at the economic bit. As we wrap this up, I want us to look at specific subjects that you bring out in your art. You have art that is really radically political radical. We have talked about the passports. Those ones are political, economical, social.
Yeah.
Where do you see your art? Where do you see Ugandan art, African art, in the next 25 years? There is this thing that is going around because of certain data that Africa is going to be a or among superpowers in the next 25 years.
But he has always been a superpower. It's just because of colonialism.
Yeah, they even say were intentionally run down.
Yeah.
So there is that projection. How do artists position themselves in that? How do artists make sure they rip off that expected economic boom that is coming?
I'm not.
And also they are saying, when you're having an economic boom, we are going to have a middle class. Middle class consumes luxuries. Art is a luxury. So where do you see art going? Where do you see your art going?
I'm going to bring the radical do right now.
Yes.
But the thing is, for me, I don't care where art is going, like African art. Also, I don't know about African art. I know art from Africa. That's what I know. Yeah, I don't know about African art. But also, for me, the most important thing is it's not where art from Africa is going, but it's what the stories we are embedding in our works, what we are talking about. That's the most important thing, and that is the driving thing that will that we can base on and be like, where is it going?
A moment.
Yeah.
What are the stories in the art? Whatever we are doing right now is influenced by the education. Which education was imported? So keep that in mind.
No, I don't know if you want to wrap up because you're dropping in certain things.
No, I don't want to wrap up. Yeah, but that came to my mind.
Yeah. First of all, for me, I don't believe in education, most especially in the line of art, because for me, I don't even have a bachelor's, by the way. I have a diploma. But for me, I believe maybe I have a master's and a PhD, because of the models that I used for people to acquire these things. I've done them in my studio. I've experimented with the material for some good years, and I can write a lot of things about it, a lot of things that
which you should do
about it. Yeah. So for me, there's a project I'm trying to. I don't know if it is next year or what, but I want to award myself a PhD in my studio as an art project, but then also as a performance and also the reality of it.
That is a serious concept you're bringing in, because now, of course, there are things that are not even yet taught at school.
Yeah.
You could go and teach.
I go and lecture at Chambo University sometimes,
how do you now fit in? How do an artist like you, as we are looking at the future, an artist that has honed their own craft, how do they fit into this system that awards degrees and masters and PhDs?
So this is how I'm going to answer you, and this is working actually right now. So I go to Kwame Nkrumah University of Ghana, of Science and Technology in Ghana, and their art department was really changed by those people. there's this professor called Caricature who has really he has really also like taught me a lot of things. He taught those of Mahamas and what, and the way they do their thing, they migrated away from the idea of the curriculum, the colonial curriculum, and
They're making their own curriculum.
exactly,
which
and
should
we have
do.
been having like exchanges with them in Uganda and the other side. Yeah. So for me, when I was at Chambogo University, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should go back to Chambogo University and study. But then what are they even going to teach me? Because there's one time this lecture I also collaborated with the Chambogo University students to creating my work for which I'm showing in Liverpool. And I was creating those passports. And then this lecturer looks at the passport and is like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, this is really interesting. But these words have to be, these words have to be like really perfect. I'm like, but that is the work. That is the work, the imperfection of the words, that is the work. And these people look at art like painting, only like painting, like sketching a skeleton and what. For me, I think past even that, because me, I work with poets. I'm working on an album right now. I'm publishing a book right now. Like I don't even draw, I don't even paint, I don't even create my work anymore at some point. I just show you what to do, my student assistants, and they do the work. You understand? And for you, you're telling me to go to the university, you're giving me a lot of philosophies, what me, I want to be read about, I want to be written about. I don't go and look for books where I'm reading them. Me, I don't even know much about Picasso. I don't know much about Da Vinci. I don't know about the blue period. I don't know about, I just hear people talk about them. But you ask me about Odur, I'll tell you when we came
the
here.
European Renaissance.
Yeah. Did you give me any questions?
No.
I was like, I will come. We just talk about my work. You understand?
You have taken us to maybe a topic that would need its own podcast, because it's not only in art.
Yeah.
There are very many things that people are doing, but they didn't go to school. And they're not respected in those fields.
Yeah.
You talked about poetry. Most of our poets in Uganda, at least the ones that are around Kampala, the ones whose poems are selling, are doctors, lawyers, teachers, engineers.
Even in the university, they are being embedded in the curriculum.
Now, I wonder how that is handled. How is your work handled? How is poetry handled? How do professors talk about it?
I don't even think the people at the universities even understand some of us. I don't think
Of course they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. They can't even work with you. They can't respect you.
You can't tell me to go and paint. Like, I remember when I was at Chamwa, he told me to paint a color wheel. I refused. I told some guy, I paid some guy to paint it for me because I wanted the marks. Now, I'm thinking about things, like real things, and for you telling me a color wheel. You understand?
Yeah.
Who gives a, like,
so,
like a color wheel?
We have, I didn't expect the conversation to go this way, but the way your art and art in general could define the whole education landscape of Africa. Like, we could write our own curriculum.
Yeah.
Music, poetry, books, art. What should we do? How do we get there?
We have to just believe in ourselves and accept who we are. And we start thinking, like, because there's this idea of like decolonization that is coming.
Yes.
And colonization thrives on power and disrespect. Yeah, because if you have respect for each other and the power is balanced, you can have a conversation. But if one person has like power and they're disrespecting you, then that is colonialism. You understand? It's just like the way someone will say like, hey, Odu, you're being racist. Racism thrives on power.
Yeah,
do I have that power? Do I have the privileges of a white person? No, I don't. I'm not being racist anyway, because a black person can never be racist. They don't have power. You understand? But
they said educated black people are racist.
It's okay.
Like,
but
we tend to hate whites. That is what they say.
Me, I don't hate anyone. Before even becoming white, yellow, green, or what, we are human beings. Yeah, we are human beings.
So,
and I have a lot of friends who are white people, friends who are black people, and I respect them.
I believe you have answered my question of where African art is going in 50 years or something, because now I envision an Odu. I envision an Odu institution for art, something like that.
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, we are coming to the end of this. Any last remarks on art in East Africa before we wrap up?
For me, I don't want to subscribe to the idea of boundaries like East Africa, but we are
especially.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
but we are just human beings, and we're just African people. Yeah, and the most important thing, let's just talk about our stories. And art is a powerful tool that can scratch like the idea of conversations from the idea of colonialism, freedom, and all these things. And we were gifted by force democracy, which is really becoming a problem to to the people of Africa.
Yes.
We used to thrive on the idea of like chiefdoms, kingdoms, and what. But right now we have democracy, whereby we have to go
Imported.
and ask people who gave it to us like for advice, and we are even manipulating it in a different way. Yeah. So it has caused a lot of commotions. Yeah. So let's use art to teach ourselves, to learn, to start conversations, because this generation, if I speak about Uganda, 70% are young people, and all those young people have been in a space whereby they have never been given a platform to what to have a conversation.
Yes.
Everything's just violent. You understand? Like
Force.
for us, we came in this government with guns. Like, so the generation, the 70% of the young people just know violence. They don't know how to kutesa. You understand?
No dialogue. It's not in them.
Yeah, but it's about like, that's why it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Okay.
Yeah, in the future.
Thank you very much. I would do for honoring our invitation to come to the East African Perspective. I hope our listeners have learned, personally I've learned a lot from this conversation. So that was Odur. I will be calling him Odur from now onwards. I'm putting away the Ronald beat. I am Benjamin Musanjifo. I'm your host for East African Perspective. You can find us on any streaming platform and YouTube. Thank you very much. Till next time.